Hello.
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 Hello, people out in YouTube land.
Hello, everybody. What is happening? Sorry for a little bit of a late start.
That whole 1 minute.
Yeah.
We're very punctual, so, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, what's up, guys? It's Sunday. This is our Sunday live the whole show. We've just been working, but do you want to tell?
Shiny.
Oh,
sorry.
Do you want to tell everybody about your traumatic morning?
Well, some of you probably already saw it on Facebook. So the puppy, Ripley, you all love Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
She is 5 months old as of a couple of days ago. And she's fully up to date on all of her shots. So we decided we were going to take her for a walk in the park. She's never been on a leash and she's never been to the park yet. Our other two dogs have no interest in that, by the way. Grizz kind of
Grizz does, but we don't want to leave
Luna
behind.
Luna hates people, doesn't know how to walk on a leash. She would be all neurotic, so it's not her thing.
She freezes up and kind of falls over if you put a harness on her.
Yeah, we want the puppy to get used to wearing a harness and being on a leash and going to the park and all that kind of stuff. So we're like, okay, we're doing all the things. It's like the third child, right? You do all the things that you mess up with the first couple. You try to do better with the third kid.
Grizz is perfect, okay? But we took her yesterday for the first time and she did great. She was super nervous, like the car ride over, because the only time she's been in the car is to go to the vet and get shots and stuff like that. So she was super nervous and shaking, and we went to the park and she was overwhelmed, but she definitely calmed down and she liked it. And she was really good on the leash. Like she wasn't, she was kind of confused and a little bit all over the place, but she figured it out pretty well. So we decided to go again today.
She did well. We decided to go again today, and she had a great time. As soon as we got to the park, she remembered. She was walking on the leash. We did a little, about a half a mile walk or so. And then, because she's got little legs, she got tired. She was panting.
She could keep going, but
she was panting. So we go back to the car, and we decide we're going to go stop at Dutch Brothers and get some coffee. Little do we know, we should know this by now.
Really, though, you demanded coffee. I'm like, we should go home and get this puppy back to the house. And you were like,
you are such a liar. So we go, and of course, Dutch Brothers, the line is ridiculous at 11 o'clock on a Sunday. So we're in line, and it's warm, and the sun is beating in, and the dog is sitting on my lap, and what does she do? Bleh! All over Katy, and then I hold her.
She's in my lap.
All over me.
And she threw up, so it went down between my seat and the center console.
Anybody that knows me well knows that vomit is my kryptonite. Whether it's the dogs, another human being, the only thing that doesn't throw me is if it's an actual baby and it's formula. I'm totally fine with that. But once it's like solid or chunky or whatever, dogs.
It was just kibbles.
Oh, forget it. No,
it was just kibbles.
It was not pretty. You almost had to clean up my puke too. So anyway.
That's true. Well, she was like practically crying in the car.
I had vomit all over my lap. And then, of course, the dog felt totally fine after that.
Yeah, Debbie, I think it's mostly just, I don't know that it's necessarily car sick. I think it's just that she's really nervous and was overwhelmed and whatever. We'll see. She's still young. So it's hard to tell. But yeah no more long car rides unless I have her in a crate where she's got her, and it wasn't even long, honestly. She was just in the car for 10 minutes. She was on my lap. But anyway, so that was how our day started. Yeah.
Vomit all over both of us. Good times.
Yeah. So I'm not even wearing pants right now because I had to take my pants off and put them in the wash. And I'm like, you know what? I'll put pants on once a day. That's enough. I'm not doing it again. So I'm not wearing any pants right now, guys. And that's just the way it is. And I'm proud of it. Okay.
Cheryl says, I don't do bodily fluids of any kind. Well, listen, I was in nursing school and I've got to tell you, I'm totally fine with all bodily fluids except vomit. Vomit would have been a problem for me. And I assume had I actually become a nurse, I would have grown more accustomed to it and maybe developed an immunity to it. But I can do blood, guts, brains. I've honestly, all of those things have been in front of me and I'm totally fine. I can do it any kind of gore. It's just vomit.
See, to me, dog throw up's not that bad. It's like, and you especially, it's like usually just kibble.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We're done. Done. Anyway, happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy Sunday to all of our Midwest and Northeast people that are snowed the heck under. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you all have power to join us.
Yeah. So we didn't have our show last weekend because Deb and Mel wouldn't let us.
She's just always going to blame them. We were not even with them. We're not even with them on Sunday.
Whatever. I was thinking about them. That's why we didn't do the show. Anyway, we actually went to Southern California, Orange County area to last weekend for a sourcing trip, and mainly for her. And so we were there from Friday morning until Monday afternoon. And we went to lots of thrift stores.
Deb says stop.
All right. See, here's the problem. Deb should learn what I say about Vikki as well, which Vikki has never learned this lesson either, is the second you tell me that if the second you freak out about me doing or saying something, there's a really good chance I will continue to do it repeatedly. It's true. And so yeah, it's true. So I like to blame Deb and Mel because it makes them worried.
But anyway, we got to see Deb and Mel last weekend. Yes. We actually got to hang out with Nanette Zupan, who we don't get to see often enough. We love Annette.
We haven't seen her since 2019, so it's been a bit.
So we had a good time. We got to see a couple of our friends and do a ton of sourcing.
And we saw Jenna, we saw Jenna this last year from. She was here in Vegas up until, I don't know, within the last year.
Late fall. And then she moved to California, and we got to hang out with her. We went sourcing with her, and then
she introduced you to one of the bins there, and you got
the Santa Ana bins. Yeah. Which I liked.
Indeed. Oh, but more importantly, she took us to this breakfast place. And I love French toast. Anybody who's ever gone to breakfast with me, I like to have a sweet and a savory. So I like a little bit of French toast, but I also want to have hash browns, and I want to have sausage. I want to have eggs. Okay. This place had Hawaiian sweetbread French toast, and it was, it helped me to rally from my experience at the, what was that place called? The Steak Corral. The Steak Corral, which I'm just going to say that Deb and Mel, thanks a lot.
I love our friends.
Yeah, we love you guys. Anyway,
so anyway, let's dispense with the chit chat as much as we missed you. Listen, we have a lot of solds to get through. We have a lot of I have a pretty big haul, and I'm only showing you some of my favorite things that I've picked up in the last week and a half or so. And I will probably have just as much for next week and still not show it all. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Vasquez Vintage, we are team hash browns. Okay. It's gotta be extra crispy though, right? I love me an extra crispy hash
nobody
brown.
Likes those half raw. It's crunchy on the outside, and then
it's barely.
And then it's tastes like floury and doughy, cold mush on the inside.
Let me tell you, when I lived in New York City, couldn't get sourdough toast. Their sausage was weird, and I could not find a diner in all of New York City that actually had good hash browns. I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? So thank God for the West Coast, where we actually appreciate good breakfast.
The East Coast does too. Your only experience is New York City, okay? So
I wasn't talking about you or your stinging party pizza, which let's just talk about party pizza here. No,
we've done that.
Anyway, whatever. I'm just saying, East Coast can't do breakfast like the West Coast.
Yes, crispy, not quite burnt. Exactly. Right. Right. Just a touch before.
A little bit greasy is good too. Okay.
Now you're making me hungry. I haven't eaten yet today. It's already 2:00.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. So we did lots of sourcing. I did a big online bulk buy, which I'll get into later, but let's do our show. We break it down into 3 parts. First part of the show, we look at our numbers for the last week, look at our gross numbers across all our platforms. Then we break down some of the costs of those, particularly the cost of goods, fees, shipping, blah, blah, blah. And then middle part of the show, we look at some sales highlights from the last week. I went 2 weeks back because, dear Lord, I don't have hardly any good sales the last couple of weeks, so I had to do some consolidating. And Vikki was like, here's 5,000 sales for me to show.
I just have to interrupt, my friend there, many past times. Look at that. Haven Brothers, 3 a.m. drunken breakfast, best thing ever in New England.
All right, why haven't you taken me there yet?
Because it's drunken breakfast.
You know how I feel.
Drunk at 3 a.m.
You know how I feel about breakfast. Why?
Because it's probably the most disgusting thing in the world. So
I wouldn't
know.
I don't care.
I've never had it sober.
I'm going with Paula.
And not at 2 or 3 a.m.
I'm leaving you home. I'm going with Paula. We're going to Haven Bros.
She doesn't live there anymore.
I don't care. She's going to get there when I'm there so that we can go together. Anyway. And then the last part of our show is when we do our haul. So let's go ahead. And yes, of course, we will wrap up the show with a little bit of Ripley. because she is
without the
cutest.
vomit.
Yeah, which by the way,
We will spare you.
By the way, she's over 7.5 pounds now.
Guys, she's gained 5 pounds in the 3 months that we've had her.
She's
a big baby
getting
now.
close to being as tall as Luna. Luna's like 9. Luna keeps losing weight. Luna's like 9 pounds, 5 ounces now. She is catching up to Luna. I think she's going to be bigger than her. I'm just saying.
Exactly. As Mel says, stop acting like you are ever up at 3 a.m. Not anymore. I'm talking, these are my early 20s party days, you know, clubbing out, and, you know, Haven Brothers is an Airstream truck basically turned into a diner cart that is parked in downtown Providence that was open for all the drunks that, you know, came out of the clubs and the bars. And that would be where you would eat your food. And then if you were really good in my early 20s, the guys that used to park outside of the clubs with a trunk full of Domino's small pizzas were brilliant. Everything was closed. You could buy a pizza from these guys. They probably paid $5 or something for the small pizzas. You could buy the pizzas for $10, and they made bank every weekend. They were smart.
Are you still talking about food? Let's get to the show.
Let's go.
Let's get to the show. We're going to talk about food.
Let's go.
I want some pizza now. Just saying. All right. Let's go ahead and share the screen. We're going to look at the real numbers. Guys, I feel like I've had a lot of days where I haven't been able to list because somebody made me go sourcing with her for the weekend. And so I feel like I'm getting behind and I need to list like crazy this week because my numbers.
My fault.
It is, oh, for sure your fault. So my numbers are not looking so good, guys. Not looking so good. But I just barely made 2,000 for my total gross sales for the last week. 13 eBay orders. It's like eBay was killing me. And then all of a sudden eBay was like, hey, I'm back and I'm awesome. And then eBay was like, now I'm dying again. So I don't know what the deal is, but 13 eBay orders, 7 between Etsy and Thrilling. 2 of those Thrilling, Instagram, nothing. Grailed and Mercari, 8 for a total of 28 outgoing orders this last week. Yikes. eBay, I literally have one thing to ship for eBay this weekend.
What
so far,
is
guys.
wrong with you?
One
Jeez.
thing. I had 2 0 sales days and I had 1 sale today. What is happening?
Apparently, I need to be your sugar mama now.
It's true. $938.18.
Can one of our admins bump that bot that's in there?
Yeah,
please.
And Etsy and Thrilling together, $647.13. Again, nothing with Instagram, and then $452 for Grailed and Mercari. Mercari, for some reason, while I'm not making a ton on Mercari, somehow I have the last week I've sold like 5 things on there. It's been pretty active, even if it's not super high priced items. So total gross sales, just barely over 2,000, $2,037.31. My shipping is a lot lower because of it, $168.28. You can see my fees break down there. Cost of goods also lower because I didn't sell a lot, $255. You actually have a higher cost of goods this week. And so my net total sales, $1,386.07. I did manage to hit my goal, my low goal every time for gross average sale price, $70. So $72.76. And then my net average sale price, $49.50.
I want to just, before you switch to mine, address that comment by Debbie Keith. She says, I don't think that offers to watchers is working properly since the beginning of the year. I would definitely call eBay on your account if you're having issues with that, because mine's been working perfectly fine. I use it every single day. And I have had no issues.
My 1 sale today was from offers to watchers. So I don't know, Debbie, like when you say it's not working properly,
I don't know what you mean by that, but I've had mine. I mean, I use it every single day. And I would say, I think when I looked last year, at the end of last year, there's a way for you to look at your reports and see what sold through offers to watchers. And I think 40% of my sales come from offers to watchers.
Yeesh. Yeah, okay. I don't know. Well, I see Michelle says that she's letting them pile up right now. So
Debbie said she did call. Yeah, I haven't had that experience, so I don't know.
We don't know what you mean by not working properly. Like, is it not even showing you that you have any to send, or they're just not, like, I don't know how I would even know if they weren't working, other than, I guess, never getting a sale through them. Oh, I see. Just you used to get regular sales and now not much. Yeah, so that's hard to, that's one of those things that's hard to
you can't quantify a negative. You can't quantify a negative. So it's one of those hard things to, you know, like people always ask, you know, what if I didn't use promoted listings, would I still sell? Well,
who knows?
You can't quantify a negative. It's just a statistical
Yeah, it's tough. All right, let's go ahead and look at your numbers. Luckily, my sugar mama did much better than me. So go ahead.
Well, it's a good thing because I spent a fortune last weekend.
Mhm.
Anyway, I did 33 eBay orders. I did 19. So I did 14 on Etsy, 3 on Thrilling, and 2 on Depop for a total of 19 there. 20 on Poshmark, 2 on Macari for a total of 74 for the week. That's actually
Wow.
pretty good for me. eBay, nah, it is what it is. It's close to $2,000. That's fine. I'll take it. It's just under $2,000 for eBay for the week.
Yeah, which for her, if anybody who's watched our show for very long, or maybe you're new, I mean, what you used to regularly be well over 3,000.
Yeah, my sales really have never recovered since March or April of last year. It's never really come back to where they used to be on eBay. And thank God for List Perfectly, because I do cross post and I do believe in cross posting, unlike some people, but there are many ways to do this business that we all are in. And cross posting for me has been a godsend, and it has increased my orders significantly. My average sale price is over $55. I guess if my average sale price was somewhere around 20 and I was selling, a lot of cheap, fast fashion, then it probably would not make sense, because I'm looking for, you'd be looking for quantity versus quality, and you're looking at low cost of goods, low dollar amount, high volume. That's an entirely different business model.
Yeah.
So depending on what you're doing for your business model, cross posting can absolutely increase your revenue.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did 1963 on eBay, 1226 between Etsy, Thrilling, and Depop. 724 on Poshmark, 130 on Macari for a total of 4,044 for the week. That's actually a good week for me. I'm happy with that. Joanne, it does not show blurry on our side, so just refresh your screen, or maybe check your resolution.
Yeah, you can change your resolution.
Because we can see it. We have 2 screens open. My shipping was $353.98. eBay fees, Etsy fees, Poshmark fees, Macari fees, for a total of $856.31. My cost of goods was a little bit higher this week, $355. I actually have a couple of items there that I spent over $20 for.
Whoa! Whoa, Nelly.
I know, right? I'm so cheap. So my total net for the week is $28.33. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
This was a good week for me. Gross average sale price, just about where it is, between 50 and 60, and 38 for my net average sale price.
Yeah.
So it was a good week.
Allison, Thrilling is kind of a hot mess these days. I would say, other than what Rosie suggested in the chat, just email them back and say, hey, I need an actual label. There's no label attached. I got a packing slip for mine that didn't even say what the item was that sold. And the only reason I knew what it was
it was in
from
your
looking at my sales history.
Yeah, it's been a hot mess lately. I had 3 sales on Friday, and I still have no packing slips or invoices for them, and I've asked for them.
So just email. I wouldn't create a label for it. I would wait for them to send it.
It's free shipping. They need to send you a label.
Yeah.
It's an absolute hot freaking mess. Anyway, so good week. 28.33.
Nice work. Yeah. Dana says Thrilling is killing me. Thrilling, let's not get into it for too long. Thrilling, what I like about Thrilling is how easy it was and low maintenance, and like I could just send a list in.
We are a little bit blurry on that feed.
This is not our feed.
Okay.
This is the
I don't
feed.
know what I'm looking at.
And
a little blurry.
Okay. I think it's all right. I think people can handle it. Here, I will change no, it's already on there. But anyway, that's not that blurry. Okay. That's just a glow. It's just a glow. It makes us look better. So Thrilling, it is frustrating because I don't know if it's just that it's a new site and it's gotten so much bigger so quickly, like so many new sellers added to it.
I don't know.
It's just,
I just don't want to get into it. I have a whole, we have too much to talk about.
We can talk about whatever we want for however long we want. My point is that Thrilling, while we won't discourage people from checking it out, I will say take it with a gigantic, huge chunk of salt, and just know you're probably going to be frustrated. There are a lot of issues with the site, and
they just changed the platform entirely, and it's just a hot mess.
It's a huge.
It no longer is the low maintenance
that
it used to be. When I first started, I was doing $3,000 and $4,000 a month on Thrilling my first month, and then it went to 2 to 3 sales a month. And now I'm still around 5 or 6 sales a month, which, while they're higher end sales, I'm not going to frown upon it. It's becoming, I'm less thrilled with Thrilling than I was when I started. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. I'm kind of like, I don't even care anymore. They have my stuff And if I sell something, I sell something, but I'm not going to, it's just, but I get where Dana's coming from, because Dana was getting some really good sales from it. And it was probably very exciting at the beginning.
It was very exciting. And then it shit the bed.
All right. Let's go ahead and look at
as F and Julie would say.
F and Julie. Let's go ahead and look at our sales highlights for the week. Starting with you, what you got?
This one took me a little bit to sell. I actually think I got this from Jenna when I purchased that huge lot from her.
Okay.
So this is well over a year that I've had this. But I paid like $1 or $2. I think I had paid like $2 an item on average from everything I purchased from her. So it sold for $89.96, the price you see there. It just sat for a while.
Yeah.
It's Double D Ranch Wear, which is a very high-end Western wear brand. This is just a vintage item. So probably late 90s, early 2000s. It's an older label. But it just sat for a while. It's a vest. Vests or whatever. They take a while to sell, but I'm perfectly happy waiting for a tiny item that doesn't take up hardly any space to go from $2 to $90.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. My first one is my Jesus tee. It's like a Pepsi parody, Christian parody t-shirt. I'm sure you've all seen plenty of these parody t-shirts around. I actually really like this one a lot. I paid like $10 for it, and it sold for $65. I didn't offer to buyers, and it sold for $65. Just a cool 80s Christian parody t-shirt. So always be picking up any Christian t-shirts, and you'll see I have another item later on here that's also a Christian sweatshirt. So
Christian t-shirts and sweatshirts. That's Christian core, right? It sells.
Yeah, Jesus core.
This was something I had gotten in a box lot from Pam McAllister. And she doesn't like selling clothing and doesn't like doing vintage clothing too much. So she had actually sold me a big box lot of vintage clothing, and this is one of the items from there. And so on average, I think I paid $5 to $6 per item when I averaged in shipping plus the cost of goods. So this actually sold on Depop. I just pulled it up as an ended listing on Etsy because it's much easier on eBay because it's a lot easier to see. So this actually sold on Depop for $95. It's just a funky, cool pattern. This is a men's shirt, by the way, and it's long and it's oversized. I can totally see a woman wearing this with a belt and maybe some spandex shorts or bike shorts under it, because that's kind of a look right now.
Belt it, cinch it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of
and as you can see, I don't steam or iron or any of that. Neither does Crystal. I occasionally I will ask her if there's a specific item that needs to be steamed when she's taking photos, but for the most part, whatever.
Whatevs. All right.
Still sells. Looks good.
Yep. Next up, I love these ridiculous whitewater rafting t-shirts. So these t-shirts, along with like ones that you see, like skiing ones, they're kind of similar to this, where they're like front and back or wraparound prints. It's like they have these designs and then they just put like different companies or places on it. So like this one's Pigeon River whitewater rafting. You might see another one. It's a different river, but it's the exact same graphic. Same thing. They do the same thing with all the ski ones. But I really like them. I just think they're ridiculous. I don't know. But this one sold for the price you see there, $69.99. I paid like $10 for it. And this one I actually didn't even really have for very long. I had it in my stack of stuff that I've bought within the last couple of months that I still need to put away, which I should probably do soon. But $70, $10 and $70.
This is actually a sold item. This actually came from, I think this one came from a box lot that I purchased from Laura Franzica, our admin in our chat. I think that's who this one came from. I'm not entirely sure. If it came from her, it was $5. If it came from my other source that I think it was $4. I honestly couldn't tell you which one it came from. Either way, $4 or $5 I paid for it. It actually sold for a best offer on Macari for $100 even. So a little bit more than that. $100 even. And buyer loved it.
Cool. All right. Next up, I love this piece. This is an Ocean Pacific snowboarding sweatshirt. I just showed this not last week because we weren't here last week, but our last show. I showed it. So I had just gotten it, just listed it. It was only up for a couple of days. And somebody made an offer for $110. And honestly, I was like, whatever, I'm taking it. When I price these things, I'm assuming like it'd be great if it sold for the full price, but I'm probably going to be doing offers. And at some point I'm going to offer like 100. So 110, I paid $20 for this. And again, I listed it, and within 2 days it was sold for 110. But you can see I think it's really cool. A lot of Ocean Pacific stuff is like surfing. So I actually think this one's pretty cool because it's snowboarding. It's just a dope sweatshirt, man. And I paid 20 for it and sold it for 110.
Oh, cool. Michelle, if you have the opportunity to buy some plus size wool sheath dresses, long tail, you're right. All this stuff is long tail, all of the vintages. But they're nice. Anytime you have the opportunity to buy something nice, vintage plus size, take it, because it is very difficult to find nice vintage clothing in plus size. Let's face it, I'm like a size 12 to a size 14. And I have a big butt and big boobs. So it is very hard for me to find vintage clothing that fits me. In fact, I don't even buy it because it just doesn't fit me. So I buy vintage, like I buy retro clothing because I love the vintage look, but it's made now. I can't buy anything that was made 20, 30, 40 years ago. So there are lots of women that like to dress in vintage clothing and they find it very difficult to find in their sizes. So when you can find it and it's something nice, buy it.
Indeed. All right. Next up for you.
So this is one I wanted to show. I paid $4 for this from one of my regular sources. This actually sold on Depop for $130 plus shipping. And I just wanted to show that things do not have to be perfect in order to sell them. This was a gorgeous 1950s dress that had some awful discoloration stains on it and some loose beading and threading, but it was heavily made. It's heavy fabric. It's just a beautiful dress and a beautiful design. And I knew that someone would want to buy that. I would have priced this at $300 if there was nothing wrong with it. I'm not somebody that knows how to restore things. So I don't sew, even though Crystal does a lot of sewing for me. It wasn't worth having her sew all these little beads back because the discoloration was pretty bad on this, but somebody could bleach this or they could dye it and restore it. And that's what this woman did. She purchased it from me on Depop. She restores vintage clothing. And I am so glad that this is going to have another life because it is a stunning, stunning dress. I paid $4 for it. So it was probably couture. It was just incredibly well made. And I'm really glad that it's going to have another life.
Very cool. All right. Next up is this awesome Reanimator.
You've had this one for a bit.
I know I have had it for a little while. I probably had it for a year. But it's just it's different. So I actually feel like maybe I should have kept it and framed it or something and put it up on my wall. But anyway, because Reanimator is one of my fave 80s horror movies, an awesome Stuart Gordon movie. But this is scrubs, like promo scrubs from the movie. So it's just, I think
that's awesome.
Who's gonna be wearing this? But I love it. Great movie, great little piece of history. And I paid like $20 for it because I bought this in a lot. If you remember, I had bought like some lots of movie t-shirts. And so this one, it cost me $20. Yes, I listed it high. This is one of those things where it's like, you're not going to have comps if there's none other that have been listed. And so, but I ended up, I think I sent an offer out for $150 and somebody finally jumped on it. So I paid $20 for it and sold it for $150. But what?
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't mind having it in my inventory for a long time because it's such a cool piece. And when I sold it, I was kind of sad and like, oh, bye, Reanimator shirt.
It's one of your favorite movies.
Yep.
I just wanted to say that we have about 100 people watching right now. If you could gently hit the thumbs up if you like the content.
Caress
and
it. Love it.
If you happen to be watching our show and you are not a subscriber to our channel, please hit the bell and subscribe. We would appreciate it.
We would appreciate it.
We do have about 30% of the people that watch our show every week are not subscribed. So we would love to have you subscribe.
What?
I know, right?
That's crazy. All right, go ahead.
So this actually sold for the price you see there. This was one that I picked up from my weekly source, although I have not sourced from her since before Christmas. We both needed to take a break, and I needed to get caught up, and she needed to do some stuff for the holidays. So I paid $4 for this item, and it sold for the price you see there, $134.96.
Very nice.
It's a very pretty Christian Dior vintage 1980s.
Very, very nice. Mother Deal says, I hope that Reanimator scrubs went to a doctor and he wears it to the office.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Hey, if I had to go to the doctor and the doctor came in wearing that, I would love him so much.
And great. David M.
Hi,
hello.
David. How's it going?
Welcome to the show.
So Lori, I believe Lori's going to a Garth Brooks show. In March, and she's looking for vintage Garth Brooks t-shirts. So if there's anybody watching this now or after the show is aired, you should make sure you comment if you have some vintage Garth Brooks t-shirts,
and we can put you in touch with Lori.
Well, they can just comment and they can put themselves in touch with each other.
That's true too.
They can probably handle it. So go ahead and comment. And
Deb has a good comment. I hope he's a Botox doctor. Right? That would be perfect.
That would be pretty good. Anyway.
I got the Botox for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I
got the botulism in my face.
It's true. Mm-hmm. I hope it doesn't turn out like Reanimator, because
it's been there 2 weeks. I think I'm good for now.
You think so?
I think
you're not going to keel over.
I think I would have had a reaction by now if I were going to.
Well, you have been itching for the last 2 weeks, so
yeah, my arms, not my face, not my forehead.
She's been having we don't know if it's an allergic reaction to her.
I think it was allergic reaction to the Z-Pack or the prednisone that I had for my Botox. Yeah, for my my bronchitis. Yeah. I think it was just a delayed reaction.
I was gonna make her sleep in the garage though. All the scratching. It was bad. All right. Next up, so I've talked about this before. Anything that, these basic plain striped shirts, or sometimes they're kind of geometric patterns. I just call them surfing shirts, surfer shirts. They sell all the time, and they don't sell for nothing. So this shirt, I probably paid like $5 for it. And let me show you what I sold it for. I
can hear you.
It was on sale. I think they used a 15% off, one of those 15% off coupons that Etsy sends out if you ask them to. And very rarely, maybe 3 times a year, somebody uses it.
I think I've had 2 in 3 years that I've had it in.
Yep. And place. So this person used it, and they paid $59.49. And it went to Norway. So they paid $60 for it. Plus they paid shipping.
For a basic striped t-shirt.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And these things, they sell well for me. So I always grab anything like this. And it doesn't even have to have a brand. Like this is a gotcha one, but it doesn't even have to have a brand. Ooh, this is cool. I like it.
So I've had this for quite a while. I actually sold this I bought this at Torgum. That's how long I've had this. Last time we went to Torgum. So I think I paid $15 for it. It's not vintage. It's just, it looks vintage, which is why I bought it. It's just Ralph Lauren Denim and Supply. And it's alpaca, and anything that has alpaca, I always buy. Mm-hmm. So I sold this on Poshmark today for $95. That's
Very
it.
Nice.
It was a good sale for Poshmark. Posh is the garbage website as far as I'm concerned. Everything's so slow, sells slow.
All right.
Cheap.
Next up, I have this Yellowstone National Park hoodie, which if you watch our show regularly, I just showed this a couple of weeks ago. This is another one that sold within a couple of days of me posting it. All of my national park stuff usually does pretty well. This is just a really cool hoodie. And it actually had like a seam that was coming apart. So I paid like $15 for it. And then I paid another $5 to Crystal to repair it because I felt like it was worth it. And guess what? I was right, because it sold within a couple of days. And so it hadn't gone on sale yet, because I do my sales monthly on Etsy. So it sold for full price, $99.99 for this really cool Yellowstone National Park hoodie. I love it. So my total cost, $15 plus $5 repair fee, $20 into $99.99. And I think it's a dope sweatshirt.
It's a dope sweatshirt.
It's fire.
So this is something that I picked up from yesterday's fits.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've had it for a while, but there are not that many of them. So I priced it really high. I think I paid $30. I'm pretty sure I paid $30.
Okay.
It might have been a little bit less, but it wouldn't have been more. And it sold for the price you see there, $149.96. It was on sale. This is just a Dragonfly, late 90s, early 2000s, the brand of clothing made by Nikki Sixx for Motley Crue. Dragonfly, actually, it says 2004 right on it, so it's not really vintage.
Yeah, a lot of people in the streetwear community may call it.
Anyway, I probably shouldn't have put vintage, but whatever. It sold. I don't care. It's close enough. It sold for $149.96 for a Dragonfly shirt.
Yeah.
They don't all sell for that. There just happened to be, this is the subject matter. It was a good size, all of that. The special ones that have certain bands and things like that, like Elvis or Jimi Hendrix, those are the ones that sell for good money.
Yeah. My best sale this week, and I'm glad that Laura is in the chat because I got this shirt because of her. I actually have two of them, which is why this is a live page that shows the price. So I did sell it for $179.99. There is a Facebook group where they sell lots, and different people sell lots of things. And Laura was like, hit me up and said, hey, you should come check out this page because there's this listing you might be interested in. And I wasn't a member of the page yet, and so I couldn't bid. And so she got to spend my money for me, and she ended up buying or setting it up for me to buy. It was like 26 t-shirts or something like that for $650. I've now sold 4 of them, and I'm officially into the black, and everything going forward is going to be gravy. But I sold this one for $179.99. The cost of the shirts averaged out to about $30 a piece. And so I sold this one for $180, and they actually bought this and another shirt. So it was like a bundle over $200. Why are you poking at me?
I'm not poking at you.
You touched me. Yeah, Laura. So thanks. You can spend my money any day. I love this shirt. I think it's awesome. And I have one more. So if anybody wants to buy one and wants to spend $180, well, I'd give you a little deal. I mean, come on, but it is a pretty dope shirt. I don't know why I'm saying dope a lot today, but
I don't know why you're selling.
Here's a twofer for you. You got 2 things here.
So this one actually sold on Thrilling this week, and it sold for $130 on Thrilling, even though it shows that it was on sale here for $81 and change. Yet again, another example of buyers stick to specific platforms. Yet another reason why cross-posting makes sense, because you have different buyers for different platforms, and you can get more money on some platforms versus others. I make more money on Etsy than I do on eBay. I make more money on eBay than I do on Poshmark. I make more money on Thrilling than I do on any platform.
Right.
So it sold for $129.
Very, very nice. Yeah. And I think that you are not to get too far into this again, but I think you made a good point earlier. If you are selling something for crazy cheap, that's like $15 that you paid however much for, and you got fees and shipping and all that stuff. So maybe your margin is only a couple bucks per item or $5 per item. Yeah. You're not going to spend 10, 15 minutes or whatever it might take to go cross post to a bunch of different platforms. But if you're selling something that how much did you pay for that jacket?
It came from my big buyout from the clothing vault.
Okay. Well, based on what you pay for stuff, usually if you're buying a jacket like that and you paid $15 for it and you're going to make $100 on it, does it make sense to cross post it in a few minutes? Of course. So
sure does. I spend about 5. I was figuring it out the other day. I spend about 5 hours a week, dedicated 5 hours a week to cross posting. Do you know what that 5 hours a week has gained me? Last year, it was over $60,000.
Right.
$60,000 for 5 hours a week. Are you kidding me? Who doesn't think that makes sense?
Yeah. I think it just all depends on people's business and what works for them. All right. And so to go along with that.
This is a second Decente sale. And this one actually did not sell for the $225. It sold for $175. Also came from the clothing vault. So this sold for $175. I had a customer send me a message and say, hey, would you be willing, because I don't put best offers on my items, and said, hey, would you be willing to sell me this for $175? My dad had one of these in the 90s. Jesus, I'm old. My dad had one like this in the 90s, and I'm going to, I don't know what I can't remember what slope he said, but he's like, and I want to rock this on the slopes next week. I was That's like, awesome. I have to say yes to that. So
I will tell you, let me tell you, I don't like sob stories. I don't like when people do the thing where they basically tell you your item's crap, so you should sell it to them for less. I don't care what you say. For the most part, I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to take that into account when I decide what to price something. But if somebody like makes me laugh or they have a funny or cool story, I'm much more willing to work with them.
For sure.
So mostly if they make me laugh for sure, then I'm definitely going to be like, all right, I'm totally going to hook this guy up. All right, next up, I've got this Homer Simpson t-shirt. I haven't had this for very long. I've only had it for maybe a month or two. Got it from yesterday's Fits. Paid like $35 for it. I had a guy buy it from me in France. And let me tell you, neediest buyer ever, but whatever. He just seemed harmless. He just was having trouble figuring out how to pay and just having lots of issues. But I sold this ungrailed for $124. But man, the guy messages me like 500 times a day, I feel like. But that's okay. Sometimes you do what you got to do because you're going to sell a shirt for $124. But yeah, Simpson stuff usually sells pretty decent. 35 into 124. All right.
This is a beautiful, beautiful dress. And I think this one also came from my lot from Pam. So $5 to $6 I spent on this item. And this actually sold on Etsy. So you're going to have to find the sale price for me on that. Wasn't listed very long. I had priced it reasonably, I think. I think if I were doing more of it sold for $149.95. I think if I had been doing more of a holdout for, I probably could have priced this even higher because it was one that was in exceptional condition and a beautiful, beautiful dress. But it sold, I paid, $5 or $6. It sold for $149.95 within 2 to 3 weeks, maybe.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Next up, I have this sweatshirt. I got this from yesterday's Fits. Now, when I got it, I was like, or wait, did I get this from you? Yeah, I did. When I got it, it had some staining and stuff. I was like, oh, I'll bleach it. It'll look better. Well, it was in a worse shape than I realized it was. I bleached it, but it's still got staining. Let me look at the cuffs. They're pretty torn up. What are you doing?
I'm replying to a customer.
Jeez. It's pretty torn up, but I went ahead and listed it anyway. And guess what? It sold within a couple of days. Somebody made an offer for $58. And I'm like, all right, actually, I think the price just came down to $58 on Mercari. And so they went ahead and bought it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Seriously, guys, this thing is ripped to shreds. It's small, it's tiny, it's stained. It's like so blah. And it sold for $58. Next up for you.
This one came from a lot from one of our viewers that sent me a box lot of stuff that she didn't want to list or didn't want to sell. And your name is blanking on me right now. If you're in the chat, please let me know. And I apologize. I've been buying box lots from so many people. Mm-hmm. They're starting to mix up, and I'm not ungrateful by any means. She would not let me pay her for this lot. And I've sold a couple of items already. So this item sold on Etsy last week. I've had this listed for less than a month. And I didn't pay for it. It was free to me.
It's an awesome shirt.
And it's a fantastic shirt. It's a brand you should look for. It sold for $229.95. And I love, love, love that brand, H-Bar-C. The older, the better. They make a lot of really, really great Western clothing that is very rockabilly. Mm-hmm. So
very cool.
Yeah, I loved it.
All right. Last one for me is this U.S. Olympic team sweater. I actually did not sell this on eBay. I sold this on Thrilling, and I sold it for even more than this. I actually sold it for $149.99. And I paid like $10 for this. I don't really buy a whole lot of sweaters anymore. It really depends on what it is, but this one, I mean, come on, it's pretty cool. But it even has like some light red bleeding. In some of the pictures, you can see it. You can see it's a little bit faintly kind of pinkish right there. Mm-hmm. But it sold for $150 on Thrilling. So Thrilling, I hate you, but you still throw me a bone. So,
right? See, I hate you, but annoying. I like you.
And I feel like the stuff I sell on there, it's always like the stuff that I've had for a while that none of my other sites want anything to do with. So it's just Thrilling. Why? Go ahead.
Seriously. This also is another vintage Christian Dior, must be the week, that sold this week. And this particular one, this also was an Etsy sale. This one came from my regular buyer, my regular source, I should say. So I paid $4 for this. It did not have a belt. And this is one that I just actually bought a roll of navy blue ribbon, satin ribbon, because it has navy blue trim. And it says right on there that it was a replacement belt. And it literally is a couple of feet of navy blue ribbon. And it sold for,
let's see,
$129.95. That's a pretty basic one. It wasn't as floral. It wasn't as nice as the other one. And I don't think this one is 80s. I think this one was 90s or later. The tag was a little bit different. So
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so this one's this one's like early 90s or late 80s. The other one, I did put 80s. Early 90s or late 80s. And then this one, the other one was even earlier 80s.
All right.
Is that it? That's it.
That's it.
All right.
I had you wrap it up because I didn't have anything worth talking about. Jeez. Whoops. All right. Okay. So we're going to get into our haul. What do you want to say about your stuff?
Oh my God, I got so much stuff. Listen, I could be here for hours, and that's not going to happen. As much as some of you, Cheryl, would like a 3-hour haul video. I got shit to do. All right. And no, not everybody wants to watch a 3-hour haul video. But I tried to pull just some of my favorite things that I got this week. And then next week, I'll maybe show a few more. But one of the first things I wanted to talk about, there's a bit of a theme happening here. First, I want to talk about, like, if you're sourcing garage sales, estate sales, especially that type of thing, you really, really, really need to be sourcing in the bathroom. Vintage items, discontinued items in the bathroom, perfumes, compacts, vintage and outdated, cosmetics, health and beauty aids, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to start pretty tame, and I'm going to talk about this right here. I paid $1 for this at an estate sale last week. And this is a vintage atomizer by Guerlain, which is a brand. It's Shalimar. It's Shalimar perfume. This is vintage from the 60s. And it's got this like blue, kind of like this toile print on it. Yeah, it's not really focused. There you go. It's just a metal atomizer. So it's from the 60s. It's branded on the bottom, but this is, I paid about $1 for it. The last one sold for something like $150. This actually has the perfume in it, but a lot of them don't. This has the bottle in it, I should say. And the bottle's pretty gross on the bottom. I think it's got a little bit of rust or dampness from a bathroom. So I'm just going to like clean that out and clean the bottom of this out. It's like a little bit grungy on the inside. And this should sell for about $150. Shalimar and vintage Shalimar stuff sells really, really well. And it's also the perfume my mother wears. So it's like, it smells like my mom. Okay. So this is also vintage dead stock dandruff shampoo that has like tea gel or whatever in it, whatever that thing is that they don't make a lot anymore. And this is actually, I'm going to sell this for about $75.
That's crazy.
I paid maybe 50 cents or $1 for it. And then the other thing I'm going to talk about, and some people may get uncomfortable with this, but the reality is they sell really, really, really well. Okay. And there's a fetish for everyone. And this is a really big fetish. So vintage enemas. This is clean, by the way. This is dead stock. So before anybody's like, vintage enemas. This is called it's like a hanging enema. It has the metal clips for it to hang. And
I like to use that for my Dutch Bros enemas.
Vintage enemas and vintage like feminine products, let's just call them. These types of things. These sell really, really well. This particular vintage item will sell for well over $100. And then this one is probably going to sell for somewhere around the $40 or $50 range. I paid about $1 a piece. So do yourself a little favor and maybe do a little bit of research and look up vintage enema, vintage douche, that kind of stuff. I know it's whatever. It's the type of stuff nobody wants to talk about. but there is a lot of interest in that type of item. And when you can find the older ones that are dead stock, then I'm not saying buy something used. And I mean, that's freaking gross. I don't care where you are. But if you can find the dead stock stuff or anything that's got the original packaging, they just don't make stuff like that anymore in the same way. And I don't know exactly what market it goes to, but I know it's a fetish market. I mean, it's good money.
Lori, she found them at an estate sale in California.
Actually, these were the estate sale yesterday.
Oh, okay. You're right.
That was here.
Yep.
So, and I've sold them for, Miss Elsha's, I've sold them for years. And the massage wands. Well, funny you should say that.
Hey-o,
That's
hey-o.
my next. As Angie would say, if she were watching the channel, which I don't think she's watched us in a while, the vintage teeth rattlers.
These came from a thrift store
in California
called Son of a Vet thrift store. I'm not sure if it was a nonprofit or not, but it was pretty funny because they had them. I think you picked one off the shelf, but then he goes, "Oh, I've got more." And what did the box say? It said something like naughty
toys or something.
It was something. It was funnier than that, but it was pretty funny.
So this is the vintage Hitachi magic wand, massaging wand. This one's in the box. This will sell for, I think it's new. I haven't opened the box yet, but this will sell for probably $100. And then these are the ones that are not new. Now, of course, you got to clean them, whatever. But this is the same type of thing. These electric massage things. These will sell for $50 to $60 or more per a piece. So these are the type of things that I'm not saying buy anything current. I'm not saying buy anything that cannot be, sterilized. But this vintage stuff sells. And it's worth buying. The other thing I purchased yesterday was along the same lines because the woman that runs the estate sale saw some of the things that I was buying, and she knows that I buy a lot of vintage stuff. And she came out and showed me that there was a whole vintage vacuum cleaner that I purchased. I paid $28 for the vacuum cleaner. It's a chrome canister 1940s vacuum cleaner with all of the attachments. But this was one of the attachments that came with it. It's called the Filter Queen. One of the attachments is a vibrator for a vacuum cleaner.
I like this is the best part though. I like the little pictures like, oh, if you just want to, you just need to massage your bicep or your neck or your waist. There you go. I feel like they're missing one illustration on there though.
It's the vacuum cleaner I have, right? Okay. So I purchased the vacuum cleaner. This is the attachment, but have you ever heard of a vacuum cleaner attachment vibrator? I've been selling this crap for a while. So that one was like, I had to buy it. So I had to buy the whole vacuum cleaner because I don't know why.
Good thing because the whole vacuum cleaner itself sells for a lot better than that thing does. That particular
right.
item.
This is the vacuum cleaner. It actually might be 50s. It's called the Filter Queen. And it's just a canister chrome vacuum cleaner. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I found it hysterical. And I paid $28. I think I'm going to sell that vacuum cleaner with all the attachments for $200 to $300.
Mike, do you have the vibrating attachment that you use to massage your biceps?
Yes. Do you have a Filter Queen, Mike?
He just said he does. He does.
Okay, I'm going to show a couple more things, the hard goods anyway, and then I'll let Katy go. And some of the other things that I picked up were, the show just got raunchy. Let's see. A couple of the other things I picked up at an estate sale, the first estate sale that we went to in California, were some vintage women's shoes. And part of the reason why I picked them up, they're great, but a lot of them was because they were still in the boxes. Like, look at these boxes, how fun. So, and here's another one. These vintage boxes.
Allison wants to know if that attachment will fit on a Dyson. I don't know. That might be too powerful, Allison. I would be worried about your safety. I mean, your friend's safety.
Okay, so just some vintage. Thank you. It's just some vintage heels. These are probably from the early 60s, maybe some late 50s. I paid maybe $1 to $3 a piece for these. Some gold heels from the 60s here. Let's see. some little, these are kind of all 60s. This was the second day of the estate sale, and I piled, maybe even the third day, I piled a whole bunch of things on a table, and I paid $100 for everything on the table. And this is, you know, this is what one of these shoes are fantastic. Look at those. Look at the lining. So they originally had $15 to $20 on each of these items as far as pricing. This one might be a little bit, some of the lame is coming off, but these are just like silver 60s, a little bit of a platform, chunky heel. So those are fun. I will probably sell the shoes anywhere from $40 to $60 a piece. The red ones I love too. I might price those higher just because they're pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I think that box is my favorite.
Yeah, this box.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun. Look, it's got like the clown on it. None of them are like designer brands or anything. They're just cool looking boxes.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I purchased yesterday, and it's an estate sale. I did pay. What did I pay? What?
It was 30% off of
$175. I paid up. I paid up for this. This is the second day of the estate sale. It was 30% off. They had it priced at $200. I always buy a lot from this person, so I asked her if she could do a little bit better. So she did 30% off of $175. Here's what I purchased.
Paid $122.50. You just dump it all out.
Yeah, the box. The whole thing came out of the box. Anyway,
$122.50 is how much you paid.
Vintage 1960s Mattel space thing. It's this man in space, but it's not just this toy set. It actually came with all of these other pieces in it. That by itself will sell for about $100, but it has the instructions, it has all the pieces, but all these other pieces that went with it came with it. Like the astronaut comes with it, and the space shelter, and Major Matt Mason and his space suit. That's who it is. It's Major Matt Mason, space something from the 60s. And if you look up the different pieces, I think I can get close to $400, maybe a little bit more out of all of these pieces. I'm going to sell it as one big lot.
It's pretty cool.
I might make more if I were to take it apart, but I just don't have the patience for that. But all of the pieces are included, all the little tiny accessories. So I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I did pay up for it, but I'm okay with paying up for something that I know is a good win. Let's see. I'm going to do one more item and then I'll let Katy go. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw this because I was so excited. I had to post a picture from the parking lot of the thrift store. I paid $6.99, and a couple of people were wondering why this is a thing. Well, this is kind of a holy grail. If you're looking for bedding or comforters, this is something you want to keep an eye out for. And I always knew what it was somewhere in the back of my mind, although I've never found one before. And I couldn't tell you why I know about this because I've seen it somewhere, but I have never had one before. So I'm not entirely sure where
So you would have bought this just based on pattern
I would have bought this based on pattern alone.
Vintage.
And it was vintage.
And you would have sold it for what, maybe $75?
I probably would have sold it for like $100 and change.
Yeah.
Just not knowing anything about it. But the moment I walked around the corner in the thrift store, I audibly gasped. Like I went, like I knew right away what this was. This is a vintage Canon comforter from the 80s. The brand is Canon. It's a cotton comforter. It has a gray check back and it has this kind of like abstract geometric print on it in the front. But what this is this is the comforter that was on DJ's bed on Full House on the TV show. And for some reason, it has a cult following where it sells for so much money. It's ridiculous. If you look up DJ Full House comforter or Canon Full House comforter, and yes, I will be using all of those keywords. I don't really care about the keyword spam and crap. I have to be honest with you. I'm not so sure that eBay cares about it anymore either. I won't use something that's not related to the item itself, but the fact is this is absolutely related to this, and I will be using this as keywords on every platform. This is a full size or a queen size comforter. I haven't done the measurements yet, but it's not a twin. This will sell for about $500 to $600.
Aaron, you should sell those.
And Aaron, if you have the sheets, you need to be selling them. The sheets alone sell for $200 to $300. If you don't have those listed somewhere, I'm sure you don't have them on a bed. So this is definitely like a holy grail item. Again, take note of the pattern. It's a gray and white. I've already washed this, by the way.
It looks very Saved by the Bell.
Mm-hmm. It's in excellent condition. There's no stains, rips, tears. It's not really worn. It was a little dingy on one side. I've washed it and dried it. It's clean. Yeah, even the pillowcases alone sell for like $100. It's ridiculous. If I didn't have, I would buy that comforter set from you if I thought I was going to make more money on it, but you should be selling it.
Yep.
I looked to try to buy the pillow shams, and I'm like, I'm not spending $100 to add $100 to my value. But anyway, I paid $6.99. It's going to sell for $500 to $600. I'm going to price it super high, super high.
Very cool.
And there aren't any listed right now, by the way. Very hard to find. So I can kind of set my own price. I'm not going to auction it. I wouldn't suggest auctioning it. The things that have sold for the highest prices were all buy it nows. I think, people have to be looking for the item, and you have to have 2 to 3 people battling over it for it to be auction worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I'm just going to price it really high, and I will, accept some offers or send offers out. So yeah, there's that. Katie, you can go now.
Okay. All right. So we went to California to source for her, just because with what I sell now, it's really hard to find good stuff in just the regular thrift stores. So it's a much harder thing to do. So taking a whole weekend away to try to go source for me, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But luckily we were able to go to a few shops. Like we went to a Buffalo Exchange, and we just happened to come in on a day when they actually had a lot of vintage. One of the guys there said, had we been there 2 weeks earlier, I would have completely struck out and not found anything there. I don't know if you're going to be showing any clothes that you got from that
I am
store.
not.
But she got some really cool stuff too. It was too hot and our air conditioning was not working right in our car. So she was forced to come into the Buffalo Exchange with me, even though she hates it. And she actually did find a number of items that were really super cool. But I got some stuff there. Plus we went to, upon Jenna's suggestion, we went to this place called Crossroads. That time she did stay out in the car. And I did find some vintage stuff there as well. Nothing crazy, but some cool stuff. But I'm going to start with probably the coolest thing I found that was actually thrifted. We went to this thrift store called, it's a place that by Deb and Mel's, what's it called? Golden Thrift. Is that what it was called? The Golden Thrift?
The crazy one. Mel, if you're in the chat, or Deb, if you're in the chat.
Yeah. I think it was called Golden Thrift. Go in there. We go in there. It's such a weird store. It's jam-packed.
You're like tripping over
not a whole lot of like anything great. I don't even think, did you buy anything there? I feel like you didn't even get anything. No. But there was some stuff hanging up on the walls and stuff where you're like, oh, they think that's something that's like extra valuable. I don't know. But there wasn't anything really that great. And then I saw a sweatshirt over on the wall, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Definitely vintage. I'm going to ask them how much that is, but it's probably going to be like, oh, that's $200, because sometimes you see that kind of crap. So I have her pull it down.
Quick to answer the question, where did we stay in LA? We actually stayed in Santa Ana, so just kind of outside of LA. We stayed at a very cute tiny home Airbnb.
Yeah. Yep. Golden. Deb says, I'm assuming it's Deb, Golden Thrift is the steak corral of thrift stores. Indeed. But I need to know what the steak corral equivalent of the sweatshirt is, because I sure didn't see it. Steak corral.
So Lisa said one of those comforters sold for $504 in December. Yeah, I did see that, Lisa. And again, there are no queen, full or queen size ones listed right now at all.
Yeah.
So that means I can set the price. If someone's willing to pay $500 for it, then they're willing to pay $700 for it.
Yeah. You know what, Deb? I take that back. If the steak corral had cherry pie available, that would have been the steak corral equivalent of this sweatshirt at the Golden Thrift. That's what I'm going to say. But anyway, this is the sweatshirt, a super awesome, Oliver Prince sweatshirt, the Boston Celtics. This thing is awesome. I love it. I love the color. Green is my favorite color.
Little Larry Bird.
It's in fantastic condition. It's on a Fruit of the Loom tag. It's just really cool. It's also, when you look at the actual print.
Did you wash it already?
Yes, it's been
flinging
washed.
It on my face.
It's a Magic Johnson T design. Sometimes you'll see those with with not the Magic Johnson T tags. So it's probably like an earlier one. Anyway, she brought it down. The tag on it said $18. And I was like, heck yeah, I will pay $18 for that sweatshirt. I haven't listed it yet. Probably list it sometime this next week, but I will be probably listing it for a couple $100. I love it. Jesse, I was showing it to Jesse that yesterday's fits the other day, and he's very sad that it was not his size because he thought it was awesome. So that's probably the best thing that I thrifted there as far as like actual thrifting, finding a gem in the wild. I was pretty excited because it doesn't happen that much anymore when you're thrifting streetwear, guys. There's no such thing anymore, hardly, of finding it in the wild. All right. Next up, where did I get this from?
Salvation Army.
Oh, yes. Salvation Army in Victorville, right?
I think so.
In Victorville, this is, I don't know if the color's translating super great, but this is a really cool pink kind of, it's sort of like it's a polo. It's pretty
It's kind of like a hot pink, like almost a neon.
I'll pull it back.
Like a faded neon.
It gets better further back. But this is Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. You can see right there. Love the stripes, love the colors. And this was like $4, $5, whatever their price is for long sleeve stuff. So we
always stop when we head to California, pretty much anywhere in California, whenever we always have to go through Victorville coming from Las Vegas. There is a Salvation Army there. It's very hit or miss.
It used to be a hot mess. It used to be like you go in there and it was just stuff crammed together and it was kind of messy and like kind of grungy. And that's where I found like that vintage Cult t-shirt. So awesome. The Cult. And we've never come out of there with bags of stuff, but it's like one of those places where you'll find something really cool. Well, they cleaned up their act. It's way nicer, way more organized.
It's very clean.
And you just don't find this cool stuff anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's hit or miss, but it's on the way, literally. And it's usually a pee break.
Yep.
Right before you hit the Cajon Pass for us when you're heading into California.
All right. So at Buffalo Exchange, like I said, we happened to get there when they had a bunch of vintage. So I was just grabbing. They price their stuff. Most of their vintage is like around $15 to $18. Or if it's on sale, then you can get it the first half of the month. It's 25% off. The last half of the month, it's half off. It was the last half of the month. So but I got some really cool stuff. Here's another polo shirt. This one I paid like $15 for. It's got some condition issues, but it's so freaking cool. Would you say this is like 80s?
Yeah, totally 80s. Very soft.
Like 70s, but it's like a strange material, almost
early
terry
80s.
cloth,
I would say
of,
early
but not
80s.
quite.
Let's lift your tag up so you can see what it says on it.
Yeah, it says University of Southern California Varsity Sailing. It looks washed out here, but again, that's just the camera. If I go back, that's more like the color it is. But super soft, long sleeve polo shirt from USC Varsity Sailing. And I love it. I love the design. I love everything about it. Now, while I was pulling all this vintage, guy comes up to me at Buffalo Exchange and he's like, "Hey, that's so awesome. You're buying all the vintage." He's like, "We've had some other stuff come in that you might be interested. Want to look at it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So he brings the stuff out from the back and I'm
jealous of that one.
And I get this piece, and I was telling you, I'm like, said to Vikki, I'm like, "You're gonna kill me when you see this piece that I got."
She bought a ton, but she always knows the ones that
I know the pieces
would
that she's
really
gonna care.
liked.
She, for the most part, is not gonna care about t-shirts unless it is an 80s hairband t-shirt that she loves. She usually does not care that much about the t-shirts I get, but I knew this one would get
certain
her.
Jackets, sweaters, shirts in general. She knows what I like.
Yeah. So the guy said he thought this was like from the 50s. It's not from the 50s. I'd say it's from the 80s based on this tag right here.
It's not from the 50s.
But I'd say it is from the 80s. This is a polo shirt from, can't see over here, the Beverly Hills Hotel and Bungalows. And this is probably like a bellboy uniform shirt or whatever.
I'm going to tell you that I stayed there once. My first time I went to LA when I went to be on the Good Morning America show in 2003, they put me up at this hotel. And it's super fancy and really pretty. And I'll never be able to afford to stay there, but I loved it.
Deb, which shirt is Mel dying for? I don't know where we're at. How far behind you guys are?
The sailing shirt.
So anyway, this one, I mean, it definitely looks like just the first glance at it because they probably have kept their logo the same.
The logo is the same.
You could think it's like much older, but based on the tag
that
underneath,
framed wallpaper I have in my office is from the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Based on the tag underneath, this is, I would say, 80s, and Vikki agrees with me. It's all cotton. It's in great shape. It had a couple spots on it. Guess what? Bleached it. Guess what? Came out great. You can bleach it. It didn't affect the threading at all. This, I paid $15 for it, guys. And Vikki was mad at me. She wouldn't talk to me for at least 5 hours. Just kidding. But
Maybe
she was
5 seconds.
But she definitely wanted to steal it from me. But what a cool little piece of history. I found other stuff from this hotel. Nothing. I haven't found this shirt, so I don't even know what I'll price it at.
Did you find other clothing from the hotel?
A little bit, but nothing like this. It's like their clothing was like tourist stuff, like a t-shirt.
I think it's pretty. I think that they either it has to be either an employee shirt or maybe they sold it in the golf store or something like that.
But there aren't any others out there. So anyway, yeah, the sailing shirt.
Why doesn't bleaching affect the threading? Gail would like to know.
You know what? I don't know.
She has just tried to bleach everything and has learned through trial and error. Actually, just trial, because I don't think you've had any errors.
Well, yeah, like one of the things I discovered is so like a t-shirt, 50-50 cotton polyester blend. You can bleach and it doesn't really affect the color that's of the shirt, the actual shirt itself. I can tell you that like screen printing like this is not affected by bleach. 100% cotton t-shirt, on the other hand, if you bleach that, totally changes the color. So if it's blue and you bleach it, it'll probably come out purple. So it's really, yeah, it is from trial and error. It's from like something being like too far gone, or it's like, okay, well, this is crap anyway. And if I can bleach it and make it look better, then might as well try it and see if it ruins it.
I wouldn't bleach anything that doesn't need to be bleached if you're afraid of damaging it. That's really it. But it's one of those things like, well, it's either fully stained and it's going to be crap and I really can't sell it, or I'm going to bleach it and see what happens.
So Michelle,
she does a lot of that.
Definitely knows far more than me about this. Thread is usually acrylic. So there you go. It's acrylic. So apparently acrylic is not going to bleach like that. Cause I've had stuff where it's like, because of the way it stains, some stains are okay and actually don't take down the value of an item. And some stains, it's like, it's worth the risk and trying and seeing if you can make it work. And threading it's never been faded or bleached because of that.
Greg has a good tip. FYI, when in California, and a few of our watchers are in California, keep an eye out for ambassador hotel items. Ooh. See, I would pick up hotel items from any type of vintage hotel item I'd pick up from anywhere. So I probably would pick that up if I saw something like that for sure. But now we know that was the hotel RFK was assassinated in.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
All right. Next up, I think I got this at one of the probably at Buffalo Exchange, but I paid like $10 for it. But I mean, come on, look how cute it is. It's, you know how I feel about ski t-shirts. This is Sharpei dogs. I don't even know if I showed you this.
I think you did show
their
it to
little
me.
Faces. Sharpei's out on the slopes.
It's cute.
So it's just goofy. I think it's really cute. I paid like $10 for it. I'll probably sell it for 50 or 60. It's on Screen Stars tag. It's fun. Next up, this is another one that came from Buffalo. This one I paid like $15 for. It's super faded and grungy, and I did bleach it. I did wash it.
It's super soft though.
Freedom Bowl. This is Colorado Buffaloes versus the Washington Huskies. It's so soft, but this is from the Freedom Bowl in 1985. You can see one of the sleeves is like all jacked up and has a hole eaten through it because it's super thin. But I think totally worth paying $15 for. Either team is gonna have a rabid fan who's willing to pay up for it. I'll probably price it like $70.
Ooh, Michelle says hotel employee handbooks are highly collectible.
Ooh, very cool.
I'm not so sure that I would have thought about that. I tend to think anything that has any hotel logos on it that are vintage, it's something I've purchased. I've purchased like phone books that were in hotels before and sold them. So yeah, I like that stuff.
Actually, I think those last two pieces might be from my online buy I did a couple weeks ago. Okay, so I'm going to get into the story, try not to make it too long. A few weeks ago, I'm in like a bunch of different streetwear groups, and I can't remember which group it was exactly, but one of the streetwear groups, this guy was like, hey, this went really well last month, so I'm doing it again. I'm selling vintage bales of t-shirts, and you could either buy grade C, B, or A, obviously A being the greatest. You can get 100 pounds of grade C for $600 or 100 pounds of grade A vintage for $1,000. So basically $10 a pound. Well, I decided, I'm always looking for
Your
more.
t-shirts are going to be 7 to 10 ounces a piece. So you're going to get, probably
I figured I'd get like 160.
125, no.
So my guess was like about 160, like when I was kind of guessing how many I might get. So it was like 160 pieces. All right, it's going to come out to maybe like around $6-7 a piece.
And you'd pay that for grade A vintage all day long.
Right. And when they say grade A vintage, it's more about condition. I'm not going to get any bangers or grails, but I'm looking for stuff that's like $50 plus that I can resell. So I'm like, it's worth the try, worth a chance. The guy sent me he showed me his Instagram page. His posts, it's like he had done it before in this group. I'm like, okay, so he's legit. It's just a matter of, is it going to be quality that I like? Is it going to be stuff I like? So it's worth a chance. He sent me an invoice, which means I was protected on PayPal.
Yep.
So first of all, he's like, so this is like early in the week. He's like, okay, I'm going to try to get this shipped out on Friday. Friday comes, he doesn't ship it out. And then he's like, oh, I have COVID. Now, this was like right when, this is probably like about 4 weeks ago or so. So it was right when.
That long?
3 weeks ago. Well, just hear my story. So he's like, it was right when Omicron was really like, everybody was getting it. We've kind of passed the peak, but everybody was getting it. And so he's like, oh, I have COVID. He sent me like a screenshot of his test. It looks legit. I'm like, whatever. It's kind of like where I'm like, okay. Can't really argue because it really was when everybody was getting sick. So there was a little delay for that. So then like a week later, he's like, okay, here's my tracking number. It says 80 pounds. I'm like, why does it say 80 pounds? It's like, oh, I'm sending the other 20 pounds separately because I'm doing pirate ship and they're only letting me do 80 pounds. I'm like, whatever. So then like a few days later go by, that tracking number never starts tracking. It's just entered in the system. Nothing ever happens with it. A couple days go by and then he's like, oh, UPS is letting me, they are letting me do 100 pounds. Here's the real tracking number. So this is 100 pounds. I'm like, great. A couple more days go by, tracking number still isn't anything other than just created. And then finally he's like, oh, they made you repack it. So now I got 2 tracking numbers for you. So these tracking numbers are like 60 pounds and 40 pounds. I'm like, for the love of God.
Just ship my shit.
Took forever. So it probably took about 3 weeks to actually ship it. Finally,
I would see, she has way more patience than I do. I would have charged it back already. I would have been like, yeah, F you.
No. I was willing to wait it out because I knew it was protected. PayPal, you've got like 6 months. So I'm like, I'm gonna let it take its course and see what happens. And so I find the boxes finally come while we're in California last weekend. I get home, I looked them up. I'm like, there's no way these are 60 and 40 pounds. I weigh them. They are 24 pounds and 34 pounds. He sent me 58 pounds instead of 100 pounds. I was already paying the highest price. I'm like, what the F? I opened the boxes, and let me tell you, had it been the full 100 pounds, the variety of stuff that was in there, I would have been like, this is fine. Half of it was stuff I ended up trading back into yesterday's fits, but it was fine. So I basically came at him on Instagram, and I'm like, what the hell? You sent me 58 pounds. I'm like, and there is.
And she videoed it, weighing it before she opened the boxes and everything.
And I'm like,
she would have won a PayPal.
And there was I would say there were probably about 20 or so pieces that were not vintage, like they said they were going to be. So I basically said, you can give me $500 back now, or I can go ahead and just do a chargeback, because I was happy with the majority of the stuff I got, happy enough that I would continue to work with him. Well, luckily he was like, okay, yes, fine. And he was very apologetic and said there was something wrong with the scale at the warehouse. And I'm like, whatever.
Full of shit.
And I told him, I don't know if he's full of shit. I don't think he was trying to scam me. I honestly think he's just an idiot. And I think that, seriously, it's super unprofessional.
Being an idiot is no excuse for
I'm not saying it's an excuse and I will never go back to him again. But what I'm saying is he was very unprofessional, didn't communicate quickly enough, took forever to follow through. Like, I totally get if he did have COVID, he should have been a lot quicker to jump in and say, this is what's going on. I mean, it wasn't like he was on his deathbed, and whatever. But of the 58 pounds I had, it was a little over 100 pieces. And I would say,
yep, Christine even says he's full of shit. I'm with you, Christine.
Yeah, well, listen,
she's too nice.
I know
she got screwed over by someone else before in a vintage group, and
that
was
was
too nice.
A different scenario. So let's not even get into that. It was somebody I was buying from 4 months who was great. And then, and then he
took off with $600.
It was not $600. It was $350. And there was nothing I could do about it at that point, but it was somebody I had a relationship with, whatever. So, 50 of the 100 pieces, 50 pieces I liked and would have paid $10 a piece for it had I gone out and bought them myself. So right there's my $500 worth that I was happy with. 25 pieces, unsellable, don't want anything to do with them. 25 pieces were okay. But I didn't really feel like selling mediocre stuff. So I packed up all the rest of it, took it to yesterday's fits, got $200 credit. So basically I paid $300 for 50 pieces that I'm happy with. And those were the pieces that I got. Whatever.
Dana is like me. I would have done the same thing. She said I would have blasted his a-hole into 1,000 pieces on social media. I would have too.
I'm not that kind of person unless he would not have given me my money back. If I had to do a chargeback, I 100% was going to do that. But because I talked to him and he immediately gave me my money back, I wasn't willing to do that. However, he did send somebody to me before I had even gotten his stuff. He did use me as a reference for somebody else. And I told that guy every step of the way what was happening. And I told him how it all turned out. So it is what it is. I don't need to go blast somebody publicly. Whatever. He knows that I'm not going to do business with him again. So, but with that said, make sure you always get an invoice. Do not pay somebody, friends and family, unless you really, really know them.
Right. We've both bought from Ryan and Allie Roots. We do friends and family every time when we buy something from them. We trust them. They're our friends. That's entirely different.
Yeah.
Some rando? No.
Yeah. I don't know if it was his first shipping experience, Christine, but I told him, I said, super, super amateur hour here, buddy. Like really bad business. Anyways, this is another piece that came from that though. This vintage green eggs and ham. I am Sam long sleeve t-shirt. I love this. It's like super worn and it's got frayed, which for me, I have no problem with that. This is totally not an issue for me. It doesn't bother me. I don't think it's going to affect my ability to sell it at all. But awesome vintage Dr. Seuss t-shirt. Love it.
So Tracy, 1987 Adventure, says she loves your Tales from the Crypt hat. I did see your 10 VHS sales. I follow you on Instagram. I know you know that. She's got some great sales.
Very cool.
She buys and sells so many of the same things that I would buy and sell. So yeah, lots of stuff. But she sold 10 VHS tapes for a pretty good price, if I remember correctly. It was over $100.
Kind of VHS tapes?
The Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, Tales from the Crypt ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's not a vintage hat. I bought her that hat.
Yeah. Not only did she buy this hat for me, she bought this hat. And then when she told me, it's so funny because the person I bought it from, their last name is Zilverberg too. And I'm like, yeah, if their name is Zilverberg, they're related to me. And it turns out it was my dad's cousin who is in the Midwest and sells on eBay, but she sells stuff like new stuff. Mm-hmm. And my dad had actually like toured her warehouse and stuff. I've never met her because it's like my dad's cousin. But anyway. Next up from
Tracy, I love your Instagram. I love your reels. Vasquez Vintage, another great Instagram account to follow if you're not already following the ladies. House of Rocks, I would say follow her soon if she can recapture her.
Hacked.
She's been hacked, and Instagram is giving her a hard time trying to recapture her account,
which I don't know why
really pisses me off because she worked so hard on building that account and it's a great account.
I don't understand what the deal is. Why Instagram? Isn't it in their best interest to not have scammers who are like? It's so obvious. If you look at the history of her thing, suddenly it goes to check out my Cash App, my Cash App crypto hack, and look at this $2,500 being deposited in your account. Totally legit. Peace. Woo! It's like
so bad,
so stupid. Anyway. Next up in this is more stuff that came from that box. Frank the Tank. This is from the movie Old School, I believe. The back says, "It's so good. Once it hits your lips, it's so good." So this movie is from 2004. I think I can sell this for $75, $80, maybe more.
Frank,
I don't know if I've seen any with this exact graphic on it or the graphic on the back. It's got some wear and some fading to it. But she says 2004 is not vintage. In the streetwear world, 2004 is close enough.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s. It's a thing that people are into now. Yeah.
Yeah. In streetwear, they're considering it vintage. I think calling something 20 years old vintage is too aggressive because in the real world, vintage has always been 25 years or more.
Yeah.
So,
but things change. And so going within that community, it's like, yeah, 2004, you can say vintage and say it's 2004. So it's not like you're like trying to trick anybody. Next up, also from that bulk buy, I love this shirt. It's got a little skeleton dude on the front.
He looks like he's dancing. He's like, woo!
I love the back. It says, if you can't fix it, don't break it. And it's the world. So I think this is a very cool, very current, even though it's a vintage t-shirt, definitely good for current times. It's on an anvil tag. So this is the kind of stuff I love. I love these this great shirt. Love it. Love it. Love it. So that's the thing.
Patty, you're funny. Patty said she was effing with the scammer.
I'm pissed that I had a bad experience because I would like to continue to buy from this guy. Not going to happen. But I did get some cool stuff out of it. I haven't researched this one, but usually some South Park stuff does pretty well. I would guess this one will probably sell all right. It's 90s.
Oh, it's Kenny.
And it's Kenny.
He's all stitched up.
He's all stitched up because, you know, dude, they killed Kenny.
Everybody killed Kenny. Kenny dies in every episode.
It's on a Gildan tag. And it's 1998 is the copyright. So this one's, I think, pretty cool. And I'm sure I haven't looked up comps for this particular one, but I would assume I could sell it anywhere from 70 to 100. Next up, also from this haul, I'm telling you, I got some really cool stuff. This one I think is pretty interesting. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. It's a 2000 blood drive that happened in Wisconsin, but it was sponsored by the WB, which is where Buffy the Vampire Slayer did. So this is like, you know, legit legal use of that franchise name. And it's just kind of a cool, unique shirt. And so I'm hoping that there's some crazy Buffy fan out there that's going to be stoked about this and want to have it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of clever, you know, vampires, blood drive. This, sure, I'll do one more and then give it back to you. And I have some more after that. But this is another one from the same haul. I'm not entirely sure, you know, talk about Christian shirts. I don't even know if this is a Christian shirt. I'm not sure what the message is here. It seems very ominous. I'm just going to say it, but it says, "Be careful what you pray for." I'm like, what? Be careful what you pray for. That sounds very threatening, but it's got the praying hands.
Oh, Tracy says she's a very big Buffy fan. I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not the movie and not the TV series.
I've never seen the TV series. I love the movie. I think the movie's great. Pee Wee Herman.
I have thought about watching the series. I think that might be a new one.
You should watch the movie first. Yeah. And then the series. It's only a movie. It's an hour and a half of your life, and it's got Luke Perry in it.
I know. I do love Luke Perry.
And it's like it is 90s eye candy, like the clothing, I think you would enjoy it. It's like it's set to high school. Come on. Anyway, 1999 Marvelous Entertainment. So I'm sure if I Google this, I'll probably end up figuring out what the heck it's all about. But it says, "Be careful what you pray for." Very ominous. I don't know what's going to happen. It says it on the front as well. It's on a Fruit of the Loom tag right here. It's for the little tag. See the tag?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
I see the tag.
You sure? All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to highlight some of my favorite pieces I picked up this week. A couple of them that I paid up for, but not too badly. So I actually paid $44.44 for this. That's such a weird price, but that was the price they had on this. This was one of the thrift stores we went to in Redlands, California, on our way. This is a vintage 90s Dolce & Gabbana. Here's the tag. Basically like a corset teddy. It's a lace underwire corset, laces up the back. It's the whole thing. These are back right now. Corsets and bodysuits and lingerie with a pair of jeans and a blazer. That whole boxy blazer over a bra or over lingerie. That whole 90s look is back. And vintage Dolce & Gabbana was kind of like the first to do that. If you remember the Madonna video, the Madonna True Blue, I think it was, where she's wearing like the Dolce & Gabbana bullet bra with the pinstripe trouser pants, the menswear trouser pants. That whole look is back again. That's a very vintage 90s aesthetic. And I think I'm going to sell this for somewhere around $400 to $500. Minimum 300. There's not a whole lot of vintage Dolce.
It's pretty awesome.
It's fully boned, by the way. It's like boned all the way down the sides and the back. The pube twister hooks. Oh, girl, I remember because I used to wear this shit in the 90s. Not Dolce, of course, because I was white trash from a small white town, so we didn't have Dolce & Gabbana. It was probably like more like Walmart couture, but
there you go.
Yes, I remember.
Karen, the prayer shirt is from 1999, so that's pre Dexter. So I don't think it has anything to do with Dexter. Undecor.
So that was one of my favorite pieces. I paid quite a bit for. A lot of this is lingerie. I'm actually going to show. This is a brand. I paid $2.99 for this. This is just a vintage like bodysuit type of. This is a white one. And this brand is, I don't even know how vintage it is. It actually might even be a little bit more current, but this was I bought it because the sizing was in European sizing and French sizing. So for me, that usually means that something is a better quality when it's European. And this is just a brand to keep an eye out for if you happen to see it. I don't know if you can see that right there. Simone Perel, Perele. Wow. It's actually French. Simone Perel. So it's actually very close to Marie's last name.
There you go.
Anyway, so this I'm going to sell for about $65, $70.
Yeah, Karen, I see you were just joking about the Dexter. Sorry about it.
This I picked up in that estate sale where in California, the first one we went to with a whole bunch of stuff.
It was the last day, guys. And first of all, let me tell you, the whole house, the appliances, the furniture, everything was old and awesome. And it was the last day, and they were pretty much pricing everything to get it out of the house. And you were like a crazy amount of stuff.
I threw everything on a pile on a table outside for $100 cash. Tracy, I went to Catholic school, and I used to wear the black lace ribbons in my hair and the rosary beads on the outside of my uniform, a la Madonna. Same thing, except I was in like 5th grade when that I was like 10.
See, I came from a small town, Tracy, and like my high school I went to was a public high school, and we were right next to the Catholic high school. And let me tell you, all the bad kids went to the public or the Catholic high school because guess what? Their parents were like your parents, and so it was like the worst kids were at the Catholic high school.
It's true.
They were all the ones.
I got out of Catholic school in 8th grade and was not a good girl in high school. Anyway, so. This is just a vintage nightgown. It's just a long, pretty nightgown with kind of like the couple different layers on the bottom with some embroidered roses on it. It's very 50s, early 60s. It's beautiful. I will probably price this close to $100, maybe paid $1 or $2. Again, I'm kind of showing a bunch of negligees and vintage lingerie, but this is another piece. This is definitely, this one's probably 70s, early 80s. This is a 2-piecer. I paid, this was also from that estate sale. So this is the top. It's just this little sheer baby doll top. And these are the bottom. These are the bloomers, kind of like.
Those are cute.
Also sheer.
Rural Squirrel says I've done so well with vintage nightgowns lately too.
Vintage nightgowns and vintage robes I do really, really well with. The elastic is shot on the waistband of these, but this is actually something I will probably pay to have the elastic replaced in because the set is so cute. So be prepared, Crystal. You're probably going to be getting that.
Tommy wants to know if it's the name that makes a big difference in price for corsets.
Well, on that particular one, yes, it's the name. It's Dolce & Gabbana is couture, so that is a definite high-end couture. So in that particular one, yes. In the black
one, if you found a no-name one,
still
sell
no, that's not true. No? Corsets also were still popular a few years ago. I have a handful of them in my closet. I used to wear them all the time. But you could get them real cheap from China. So not every corset is worth something. It all depends on how it's made and what the name is. So yeah, the name does have something to do with it. But when you're talking vintage, if it's vintage, it doesn't have as much to do with it. It's kind of like hard to describe. I'm sorry. That probably doesn't answer your question, Tommy.
So if it's vintage, if you know it's vintage, it's always going to be worth something.
Yes.
And then obviously some of those designer names are going to make it worth a lot more.
Yes. Same estate sale. This is a dead stock. The tag is still on it. This is early 80s from Robinson's. Ooh. Just a vintage red teddy. Again, lace teddy bodysuit type of thing.
Wore under their uniforms.
Yep. I don't even know what the brand is on this. I didn't even
look. That smells so perfumey?
It came from the old lady
I
house.
just got
So it's just
a
Olga.
whiff of
Olga. So Olga is a brand that still makes bras and underwear. It's not a great brand. Doesn't matter. This one, the brand is not what's going to sell it. This I paid again about $1 or $2 for. I'll sell this for about $75 all day long. These are both from the Goodwill in Victorville. I paid $2.99 each. Also, 70s, early 80s little nighties with like, these are shorts. So they would be like kind of like tap pants. This is the side. It's like a shorts type of thing. Also kind of like a little teddy nighty thing. Again, I'll sell for like $60 to $70 a piece. One is ivory and one is, it's the same brand. I'm sure they were donated by the same person. It's kind of like an eggplant purple. Super cute. Super cute.
I got some serious side leather.
$2 to $3 a piece.
Do you sell them better on a form, a model, or flat lays?
I always use a form. I'm sure if I had a model who didn't have a fat ass that could fit in those, that would probably work. Models would always work better for that type of clothing, for sure. I don't use live models for anything, but that will be on a mannequin or on a form. I don't do flat lays. I only do flat lays for pants. And those will definitely sell better on. I think it's a half form mannequin that'll sell on, but because you'll be able to put it on all the way as opposed to a full mannequin with legs. They don't always fit. Let's see. So I picked this up at the bins in Santa Ana, and this was dead stock. It totally crunchy dead stock, but it was dirty. So I had to wash it.
Tell them about the bins a little bit.
Oh, so the bins it's just clothing. No shoes, no hard goods, no nothing like that. No toys, nothing like that. Just clothing. And it's probably like 40 different bins, maybe 50.
It's decent size.
They do not turn over the bins. So when they open the doors, you want to be there when they open, and it'll take you an hour or two to get through everything, and then you're done. Because they don't change it out. So everybody goes and you first. But their pricing is a little high for bins pricing. It's $2.69 a pound. I think we're $1.69 here in Vegas. And I know that there are other Goodwill outlets that are even cheaper, or depending on, 50 pounds and over, it even goes down. It doesn't here in Vegas. It's $1.69 a pound. And this place was $2.69 a pound. But I found a lot of really good stuff, a lot of designer stuff, a lot of higher end stuff. I found some Johnny Was, a couple of Lily Pulitzer things.
So here's the thing. It's in Santa Ana. It's not called an outlet. So if you're looking for Goodwill outlets, it won't show up. It's called Goodwill Marketplace. And so this particular location is kind of in an industrial area. It has like their headquarters. I don't know if it's their main headquarters, but it's like Goodwill offices there. Then it has a Goodwill store, like a regular store. And then behind it, in like this warehouse space,
I think people keep it kind of quiet. Jenna told us about it, and
I think 5 watchers are not going to care.
Yeah,
are not going to make a difference.
No, I'm saying that I think she said that she feels like it's like people just don't want. If you know, you know. If you don't know,
there's a lot of people there. Whatever. It's just weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Anyway, it was when we go back again, and we will be going back again because it was a great sourcing area. We'll go again for sure.
And they're auctioning pallets there, which looked like it was mostly hard goods. I don't even know how that works, but you're like, it's just like a fence between, like, it's sort of outdoors, but then there was like a lady.
But the auction was entirely in Spanish.
I know. It was just weird.
So we couldn't.
I'm just saying.
We wouldn't even know how to bid. I'd have to bring somebody bilingual with me.
We may know some Spanish speakers who want to go to that auction. My point is, it's a weird location because it's got headquarters, regular store, bins, auction. There's pallets being moved everywhere. It's kind of a hot mess, and it's interesting though.
I thought it was really interesting. Yeah. I will definitely go again. Anyway, so I got this nightgown. Like I said, it was dead stock, but it was dirty, so I had to wash it. So it's no longer dead stock. But Lance of Salzburg, I talk about that all the time. It's usually these long flannel modest nightgowns that are floral, and they have a kind of a lacy collar and stuff like that. Well, this is a long flannel nightgown, but it's not. It's just red and white striped. And it has this really cute embroidered heart on the chest. It says made in the USA. So it's long. It's a full length nightgown in flannel, made in the USA. I will probably sell this for like $60, and it came from the bins. Very cool.
Lori, real quick, wants to know about the anvil tag. If it's 90s. Listen, I'm not great with anvil tags. It depends on what it is. I have to look at it. If you Google anvil label history and look at images, you'll be able to see all the tags and the decades, and it makes it a lot easier.
See, Crystal's husband's already texting me now. She wants me to bring him on a trip to California. I don't. Are you just trying to get rid of him? I don't know. She's like, Angel speaks Spanish. I'm just kidding. I love her husband. He's the cutest little thing.
Yeah.
So I picked this up at one of the. I think I got this at an estate sale. It's just a vintage cross stitch Mickey and Minnie blanket. It's like a toddler blanket or
really cute.
a crib size blanket. It's really cute. It's cross stitched Mickey and Minnie. It's on a little bit of a quilted thing, but it's just adorable. I love it. It looks like it's brand new. It's like somebody made this for someone and they never used it. It's in beautiful shape. I'm going to sell this probably for at least $75, maybe more. I'll see if I can find one similar, but it clearly was handmade. Even has Pluto on the bottom.
Really
It's really cute. Another vintage blanket. I don't even know what I paid for this. $3.99. Might have even been $2. I think it was 50% off. Just a vintage children's blanket.
It's cute.
Vintage, very 60s, 70s.
I think this was from a Goodwill.
This was a Goodwill.
Yeah.
The tag is still on it. And this also feels like it's dead stock. It's so crispy and crunchy. And then this one it still has the tag on it. It doesn't really say what it was made though. Yeah, 70s. Because it has a code on it that I guarantee has to do with the so I paid like $2 or $4.
Yeah,
Another
really
one
cheap.
I'll sell for like $50, $60.
I'm slowly getting better at eyeing the things that I know that you'll like. I still grab stuff where you're like, like we were at the sale yesterday and I grabbed this dress that I thought she would like and she was like,
Well, it was $20.
Well, I don't know.
It was $20 and it was just a basic vintage polyester dress.
It had a really cool pattern. My point is I am still hit or miss. I feel like I'm getting better.
If it were $5, I would have bought it, but not for $20.
Yeah.
Again, just a couple more linen things. This is in that huge pile. It's like a tiny blanket. It's almost like a child's burp cloth or something. It's a tiny blanket. It's satin edged all the way around. Which is why I know it's not a remnant, but just this looks very 60s, 70s as well, maybe $40 or so. This is something we talk about. So vintage towels, certain vintage towels will sell well. I haven't looked this one up yet, but this is Vera Newman. When people see this little symbol, they sometimes think it's Vera Bradley. When you see Vera, it's not. It's Vera Newman. And she does
those scarves.
Yep, and she makes scarves and towels and sheets and basically all kinds of fabric and tablecloths, napkins, all that kind of thing. So this is just a green vintage kind of a mod towel. I'm probably going to sell this towel for $50. There's not a lot of Vera towels.
I know you see the scarves a lot. Like my grandma gave you some of the scarves.
And I found a scarf this week too while I was sourcing. I just didn't bring it up. All right, and I'm going to show 3 last items, and they are my 3 favorite clothing items that I picked up this week. And then Katy can show a few more. And if I know we're running a little bit late today, I told you guys it was going to be a long show. This was from the estate sale that I paid $100 for the entire table. So again, $3 to $4 maybe.
You gotta poke my eyeball out.
This is a vintage 60s, 70s. Fully lined. There's no brand in this. Oh, there is a brand in it. Sorry. Eisenberg. Eisenberg is the brand. So this is 60s. It is a jumpsuit. It's belted. It's pink. It's fantastic. You can wear it with the collar out or in. I kind of like it better in. I don't know why it had the collar on it. I kind of like it better in with this little keyhole neckline with some gold and glitter. And it's self-belted. The belt has the glitter on the ends as well. And it's these big, huge, wide leg pants. It's this fantastic jumpsuit pantsuit.
It's great.
It's freaking fantastic. I love this thing. I swear that I wish this fit my fat ass because I would wear it. I would wear it. I am going to list this probably for like $300 because it better go to the right person. That's all I have to say. When I fall in love with a really great vintage piece, I price it high and I don't give a crap. Someone will buy it at that price because I think it's worth it. I would totally wear that if it fit me. I'm sorry, I'm too chunky for that, but My other piece that I love is just this basic black 50s wiggle dress. And it's nothing special. It's just a wiggle dress, but it is Lily Diamond, which was a high-end designer in the 50s. But what I love about this is that it has a vintage detachable chiffon skirt with marabou feathers on it.
Fancy.
So you can sell the skirt by itself. If you were to sell this by itself, the skirt would sell for probably $200 to $300 by itself. I'm going to sell it with the dress because it comes with the dress. But yeah, look at the back of this thing. Look at, it's got this little satin bow. It's a satin waistband, and it is a sheer marabou trim skirt that is super sexy. It's the type of thing that you would see somebody wearing, I think, as lingerie, as opposed to wearing it over the dress, but it was made to go on the dress.
It's awesome.
So I think it is gorgeous. Cowboy boots. Yes, Tracy. Cowboy boots would be fantastic with that. It is very like Dolly Parton sassy. I love it. And then my very last piece to show. I told you it was going to be a long show. Sorry, guys.
Nobody is upset.
This one has a little bit of damage. It has a little bit of water damage, and I'm sad that it does, but I think someone will buy it anyway. This is just a Miss Elliott, early 60s type of dress, maybe late 50s, because they had that same label for a couple of different decades, but I think this is more 50s. This is a very, very Marilyn Monroe, Some Like It Hot, the iconic white dress that Marilyn Monroe would wear over the grate. It's has the pleats on the bottom. It has a full skirt, just goes right to the knee. And it's just the chiffon overlay with a belt. And the belt comes with it. There's a little bit of water damage. You can see it here on the inside, but there's also a couple spots where it's right under the chiffon layer. So you can kind of see it when the light hits it just right. And I tried to do a little bit of surface cleaning on it, and it did not go well. So I'm going to leave it to the new owner, and hopefully someone is going to want it.
I'm sure there's people who know how to like restore that kind of stuff. It's beyond our pay grade.
You know, I have to be honest with you, Tracy. It is very hard to find that stuff here. That's my last piece for you. And again, that came from the estate sale with the pink and the black. They all came from the same estate sale, $2 to $3 a piece. I do not find a lot of that out here. I really don't. I pay up for it when I find it here. I find it out. That was in California. So I find it when I'm outsourcing other places. And I have found good vintage pieces by letting people like my viewers know that I buy vintage and I sell vintage. There are lots of people that fall onto this stuff all the time, Laura being one of them. And Laura hates selling clothing, but she knows that something is good and pretty and vintage. And she'll be like, oh, Vikki would like that.
Yeah.
So like people like that know that this is what I want to buy, that they can buy it cheaply or for pennies. I'm always willing to buy good vintage. And
the thing is,
but I don't, I'm in it and I pay fairly, but I pay what I'm willing to pay. I'm going to pay $4 to $10 an item, because that's what I would pay, because I don't have any shortage of inventory. So, if I pay $4 to $10, pay for it to be listed and store it, and it takes a year for it to sell for $75. That's my business model.
I will say now, I think especially because of COVID, there are way more online auctions like that might be local to you, or even a lot of them are shipping now because of COVID. So one thing you can do is look at online auctions. Another, and that's like highbid.com or whatever. Different states have their own.
Highbid is for most states. I think it's every state.
Right. Different states have their own highbid.
Yeah.
So like Nevada highbid.
Auction Zip.
Right. But I'm saying like Nevada highbid. And anyway. And then the other thing is traveling. And we've talked about this before, but like for us, it's like we're lucky that we can go to California, and it's like only like 4 hours away to where we went. But it's like with gas prices right now, I mean, I probably spent like $150 just on gas. We had to get our Airbnb.
So here's an example. Okay. So people that say that there's nowhere to source. It all depends if you build it into your business price. Okay. So I spent, what did I say?
That's what we're just going through.
Yeah. A total of $1,700, I think, for the week. We sourced for 4 days, and sourced probably 40 different locations. And I spent about $1,300 on items. And of that $1,300, I will turn that into well over $10,000 in sales. We spent $150 on gas.
Like $400 on Airbnb, right?
$400 on the Airbnb. Food, we don't really count that because we probably would have gone out when we were home anyway. So it is what it is. I mean, food is part of it as well. Mind you, these are all tax write-offs.
Yeah.
Airbnb, the gas, well, the mileage, because we do mileage deductions. Dog sitting, which is also a tax write-off because I use that for business. So we did dog sitting. And the dog sitting was a few $100s. And then what else?
I don't know, but the
point is, and the meals, all of those things are all tax write-offs.
It's tax write-offs. It does add up, but the point is, even if you have to travel somewhere, as long as you are, calculated about where you are going, like you don't, like if we spent all that money to go to Utah, we did our one trip to Utah, it was not worth it.
Yeah.
But if you go somewhere where like for instance, we've been talking about at some point trying to get to Michigan. Vicki's like, I'm going to rent a truck to haul down all the stuff that Laura has in her area. If you do it in a calculated way, yes, it's going to cost you money and time and resources. But if you're going somewhere that's rich in inventory, and you do it the right way, and if you can get the prices low enough and it's good enough stuff, then it is worth it. That's why it's worth it for me to pay for people to ship boxes to me from the East Coast, knowing how expensive shipping is. We all know the shipping ends up costing me more than the actual cost of the items, but it's worked into the pricing. If I can get items for under $10 a piece, including the shipping, and it's something I can sell for $70 or more, then that's worth it for me. But I would not do that for mediocre, low volume, low item prices. Of course not. But it is worth it for me for the way that I source and the type of things that I sell. Sourcing outside of your area. I mean, Vegas is pretty saturated with resellers. Yep.
And can I still find good stuff? Of course, but it's a little bit harder. So, and it takes me a little bit longer, but if we do a dedicated sourcing weekend for 3 to 4 days and it costs, and I pay for this stuff, by the way, because she doesn't get much out of it. So she pays for the gas usually.
But she also gets a chauffeur.
Exactly. So, and it takes time away from her for sourcing. So this is, we keep our finances and our businesses separate, but if I spend $2,000 to source for 4 days and I can turn that $2,000, say, $2,000 total into $10,000 or $12,000, then that's worth it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. You going to show a few more things? Sorry, we're almost at 4 o'clock already. It's almost been 2 hours.
Quit apologizing.
But we still have 112 people watching. So
most people don't necessarily watch all of it, or they just watch parts of it, and so it really doesn't matter. We'll show what we're going to show, and it is what it is. So quit apologizing to them. You did nothing wrong, and if you think she did something wrong, suck it. All right. Next up, if Dana is still in the chat, she will appreciate this. This is also from that ridiculous online purchase I made, but it's another cool shirt. This is a beautifully, completely worn and faded Rocky Horror Picture Show t-shirt. This is vintage. It's got single stitch on the sleeves and the bottom, and there's no tag in it. The tag's been ripped out. But I don't know if you'll be able to see it. If you look very close, it does say 1980 on it. It's pretty faded, but I was able to make out that it does say 1980, which is consistent with the construction.
See, Dana, gimme.
Yep. So I have no idea how much this particular shirt is worth. I'll have to do some research. It doesn't have the mouth on it.
Oh, Lisa's watching us on a 60-inch TV. I'm sorry, Lisa. That's a little too high def for this.
Whoa. What are you talking about? All right. Lisa has a look. I'm going to make this 60 inches right there. Anyway, so like I said before, I did get a lot of really cool pieces that I'm super into from that online buy.
So, of course, Deb, every weekend from 85 to 87. So we used to have a Rocky Horror Picture Show in Rhode Island that would show at midnight on Fridays and Saturdays at, it was called the Warwick Theater. We went there after prom. I've been there. I used to go. It was a midnight showing. I was in high school. So I think I probably went 30 or 40 times. We've done it here, the live Rocky Horror, a couple times.
Once.
I've done it twice.
Okay.
You went once. It's just a little too much because they have a whole bunch of inside jokes and it makes me crazy. They don't do it according to, if you do the live Rocky Horror, Everybody knows what you're supposed to say, when you're supposed to say it, what you're supposed to throw, when you're supposed to throw it, all that kind of stuff. This place kind of drives us a little crazy. It wasn't exactly great, but Midnight Rocky Horror Picture Show is a rite of passage. Exactly. I used to love it. I still know the movie too, Jill.
I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. It was introduced to me by my mother. My taste in books and movies are largely informed by my mother, who's awesome. And so the Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of those things I've seen a bazillion times. Love it. But I am going to say something controversial here, which may end my friendship with Dana. I prefer, when we're talking about 70s rock operas, I prefer Phantom of the Paradise. There, I said it. Brian De Palma, Phantom of the Paradise. You've never seen it, so you don't know. Telling the story of Faust. Freaking amazing. Love it. Beautiful. Awesome. Maybe someday we'll do a double feature at our house. Dana, and you can come over and we can watch them at the same time. I'm sorry, but it's true. I prefer Phantom of the Paradise. All right. Next up, I have, this is another one that I'm like, what in the what? I don't even know. It says, I yell because I care.
Did you send that picture to my daughter? Because I think my daughter would. That's me. That's me.
I know.
I'm a yelling mom. Sorry, not sorry.
I'm
a yeller. Always was. Probably always will be.
Well, and listen, so Deb says, I still can't believe my parents let me go all the time. You know what? I come from a super conservative family, conservative Baptist, but my mom has a twisted sense of humor. And so, like I said, she's the one that introduced me to that, as well as another favorite movie of mine, Harold and Maude. So, but yes, Rocky Horror Picture Show, definitely.
And she made me watch Harold and Maude, by the way. It's fucking creepy. Not gonna lie.
She thought it was stupid. You didn't just think it was creepy. She thought it was stupid.
Creepy.
Harold and Maude is one of the.
It's some 20-year-old guy falls in love with like this 70-year-old woman. It's disgusting.
But that's not what it's about. It's about he is depressed and having issues and obsessed with death and suicide. And this 80-year-old woman teaches him to love life and live it to the fullest.
And she sleeps with him.
So what?
Anyway, go ahead.
I sleep with you, Grandma.
Wow. All right. And on that note, we're done for the
day. You wish you could be Ruth. What's Ruth Gordon? Just kidding.
Oh.
Ruth Gordon's awesome.
4-year age difference. 4 years. I'm going to punch you right in the freaking mouth.
Look at Crystal.
Crystal's like, oh, yeah.
Dana says I'm having a yell because I care shirts.
All right, who's got the Amazon merch account?
Anyway, I yell because I care. Started. I don't know what this shirt's all about. It just says Lake Street shirts, but I think it's pretty funny. Again, that came in that. Anyway, see, JB says it's actually very meaningful about bracing life, etc. So quit being so judgmental. And seriously, Ruth Gordon is adorable.
Nope.
Bitchin' surfwear t-shirt, and this is awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
And your eyes are not deceiving you. It's got this weird
what?
It's supposed to try to. It looks 3D in the reflection because of the background.
Because it's got the highlight, like a green and pink. Mm-hmm. Anyway, love that. Here's another piece. Seriously, guys, I got so many good pieces from this box of stuff. I don't know why he had to be such an idiot. The print is a little off. Is a little off center, especially the way I'm holding it, but it is definitely off center. It says I scored with Space Invaders, Atari. This is definitely true vintage 80s t-shirt. I love it. Awesome.
I love that one too.
I'm trying to get through this quickly because I do want to show these shirts, but I mean, we're hitting 2 hours now. And I gotta run as soon as I turn this off because she's gonna murder me as soon as we turn the cameras off.
Mm-hmm. Just so you know, this is really your last day of looking at that face.
My last day of living.
This is your last day of looking at that face.
It's my last day of living. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is a really cool tie-dye, totally worn and faded. It's got some holes in it. It says Free World. I think it's a fantastic shirt. I love it. It's awesome. It's on a Fruit of the Loom tag.
Neil Young, Keep on Rocking in the Free World, not on Spotify.
This is another one that also came in that batch. This was super stained, and I bleached the crap out of it, and it's awesome. It's an 80s, just a music t-shirt, viola. I think it's really cool. And yeah, again, I bleached the crap out of it.
Enjoy the last Katy haul that you will ever see.
It's true. Actually, this tag might be 70s, early 80s, 70s. You can see it doesn't have any.
I'm gonna go get the baby.
Oh yeah, go get the baby because I have pants on.
Shocking.
Well, I already explained it. Also from the same box of stuff, this cool skiing t-shirt. It says attitude. The pleasure you get from your life is equal to the attitude you put into it. I think Ruth Gordon would feel the same. Oh, she's muttering under her breath as she goes down the stairs. And then so we went to this thrift store that was like Assistance League, whatever it's called. It was in Downey, California. And we went in there, did some shopping, went and had lunch. And then as we were walking back to go to our cars, I saw I think they had just changed the window display. And there was the mannequin was wearing like a long sleeve button down shirt with the t-shirt underneath. And I just barely saw this peeking out. So I went back inside, got this for $5. The 1988 South Korea Olympics, got it for $5. And I don't have them up here with me, but also I bought like 4 hats from those Olympics, from the 84 Olympics. And a couple of them were like, what are those hats called? Newsboy hats. And the other ones were like these weird, like almost 9-panel hats. So those were super cool. So I bought like a ton of Olympic stuff and this t-shirt. So that is it. You want to bring the baby? And now we will reward you with Puppy. Hi, Puppy. Was she sleeping? Mm-hmm. I can tell she's like kind of groggy.
So it's her afternoon nap time. The puppy that puked all over both of us today. And here she is.
Yeah.
She's getting
she's
so
real
big.
Sleepy right now. Look at her ears. Hi, baby.
You guys can see when she used to be teeny tiny.
She's over 7.5 pounds now.
She's big now.
Look how big she is. Oh, she's like, no, I don't want to.
So Ripley says hi.
Yeah. It's so funny. She's always so shy and she's really tired right now. Oh, is you tired? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's tired. She's a real cute baby. She's had a crazy day. She went to the park. She puked on both of our laps.
Tracy wants to know if she can have your hat if I kill you.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be dead, so it's up to you.
Sure.
If you want to ship it to her.
I'll sell all your shit after I kill you.
I regret nothing for now. For now.
You say hi, everybody.
Oh, she's so cute. How did she get so big? Here, let me see her. Let's see her. Oh my goodness, look at that body. Look at her. Look how huge she is. Oh, okay. Yeah, she's like, I don't want to be awake right now. Mm-mm. Oh my goodness.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for sticking with us for 2 hours and 4 minutes. This might be one of the longest shows we've ever done.
And our last show, apparently.
Or
are you going to carry on?
I'm going to carry on without you. Hell yeah.
How
It'll be just the Vikki show.
How do you plan to choose?
Just Vikki.
How do you plan to choose your new co-host? Because I mean, you really should have somebody else on.
I'll probably hold a lottery.
A lottery? You're not going to do auditions?
Maybe I'll do auditions.
Let's see if you have good chemistry.
Maybe I'll be like, when Regis and Kathy Lee left, and then there was Kelly, and then Regis left, and Kelly like auditioned a bunch of people, and I might do that.
Yeah.
All right, Dana says bye already.
Oh, whatever.
Right. Bye already.
Already, jerks.
See you next week, guys.